Block my promotion? I'll block you from getting hired. So this happened like 7 years ago when I was working at this massive tech company. I'd been busting my butt for 2 years straight in the software development division. Stayed late, fixed everyone else's code, took on the projects nobody wanted. My direct boss kept telling me I was next in line for senior developer. The promotion would mean an extra 30 grand a year and my own team. The way promotions worked there was wild. All the middle managers from different departments would sit in this conference room with the division head, and they'd literally argue about who deserved to move up. Your boss would pitch you, other people could speak up for or against you, and then they'd vote. My manager went into that meeting confident. He told me beforehand that my numbers were solid, my code reviews were clean, and he had everything lined up. I was sitting at my desk refreshing my email every 5 seconds waiting for the good news. 3 hours later, he came back to my cube looking pissed off. Told me to grab my stuff and meet him at the coffee place across the street. You didn't get it, he said soon as we sat down. Turns out there was this woman, Amanda, who was a manager in the data analytics department. I'd literally never worked with her. But she stood up in that meeting and went off about how I was supposedly difficult to work with, missed deadlines, and wrote sloppy code. Complete lies. Here's the real reason she tanked me. 2 months before, my division head had shot down a promotion she'd pushed for one of her people. My boss had been the one arguing against it because that person actually was bad at their job. So Amanda decided to get revenge by blocking mine. I was collateral damage in some petty manager war I didn't even know was happening. I was done. Started applying to other jobs that week. Got an offer 5 months later from a smaller company for even more money and took it. Fast forward 4 years. I'm at this small tech startup now, doing pretty well. Started as a senior developer, moved up to team lead, then got promoted to department head. One day, our VP of operations quit out of nowhere. HR scrambled to post the job opening, and we started getting applications within days. I was in a planning meeting when our HR person, Kevin, sent me an email with the subject line, "Need to talk about candidate." Called him right after the meeting ended. "Hey, so we got an application from an Amanda Jennings," he said. "I was doing the background check thing and noticed you both worked at the same company from 2015 to 2018. Did you know her?" My brain stopped for a second. Amanda Jennings. I pulled up LinkedIn on my computer and there she was. Same person. "Yeah, I know her," I said. "Great, so would you recommend her? Her resume looks solid and we're trying to move fast on this." This woman had cost me a promotion, 30 grand, and honestly a lot of confidence in myself. And now she wanted to work here? At my company? "Actually, I wouldn't recommend her at all," I said. "We didn't work together directly, but I saw how she operated. She played a lot of politics, wasn't a team player, caused problems between departments. I don't think she'd be a good fit here." Kevin was quiet for a second. "Oh, okay. That's pretty different from what her references said." "Yeah, well, references only tell you what people want you to hear. I'm telling you what I actually saw. Hiring her would be a mistake." 2 days later, Kevin emailed me again saying they'd canceled her interview. I didn't think about it much after that. Just felt like karma. Then 3 years later, our startup got acquired. Massive deal. I'd been there from almost the beginning, had solid stock options, and when the sale went through, those options became worth more money than I'd made in my entire career. The acquiring company kept most of us on. I got bumped up to senior director about 2 months after the acquisition. I was grabbing coffee when Kevin pulled me aside. "That Amanda situation," he said, voice low. "She just reapplied for the new director position. And here's the thing, she's sitting in the building right now. Showed up early thinking she had an interview scheduled, but there's confusion with the new HR system." My heart started pounding. "She's here? Right now?" "Yeah, lobby on the 3rd floor." He checked his watch. "The hiring manager is about to walk down there and just assume everything's cleared. But technically, since you were department head when she applied before, you have override authority on legacy candidates. I can either send her home or let the interview happen. But I need to know right now because he just texted saying he's heading down." I stood there holding my coffee cup so tight I thought it might crack. 7 years. 7 years since she torpedoed my career for no reason except office politics. And now she was sitting 3 floors below me waiting for an interview. "Send her home," I said. Kevin nodded and started typing on his phone. "Wait." I grabbed his arm. "Actually, let the interview happen." He looked up confused. "You sure?" "Yeah, let her interview." "But I want to sit in on it." Kevin's eyes went wide. "That's going to be awkward as hell." "I know." "Set it up." 20 minutes later, I was walking into conference room B. The hiring manager, Garrett, was already there shuffling papers. He was new to the company, came over from the acquisition. Good guy, sharp, but he didn't know the history. "Hey, thanks for joining," Garrett said. "Kevin mentioned you worked with the candidate before. Something like that?" The door opened, and Amanda walked in. I watched her face go through about 5 different emotions in 2 seconds. Confusion, recognition, shock, then this forced smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Oh, wow," she said, voice too bright. "I didn't know you worked here." "Senior director," I said. "Been here about 6 years now." She sat down across from us, arranging her portfolio with shaking hands. Garrett started with the basic questions, walking through her resume. She kept glancing at me between answers. Her experience was solid on paper. She'd moved around a lot after our old company. 3 jobs in 6 years. Each stint lasted about 18 months. "So, Amanda," I said when Garrett paused, "I'm curious about something. You left Data Core Systems after only 14 months. That's the shortest role on your resume. What happened there?" Her jaw tightened. "It wasn't the right cultural fit." "Interesting. And before that, you were at Nexus Analytics for 16 months. Same issue?" The leadership changed. New management had different priorities. Garrett was watching this back and forth, picking up on the tension. "You know what I'm noticing," I continued, "is a pattern. You've had 6 jobs in 7 years. That's a new position every 14 months on average. Why do you think you have trouble staying anywhere long-term?" Amanda's fake smile was gone now. "I don't have trouble. I'm selective about where I invest my energy. Some workplaces aren't worth that investment." "Right. And when you encounter resistance or feedback you don't like, you move on rather than work through it." "I think we're getting off track here," Garrett said, clearly uncomfortable, but I wasn't done. "One more question. At our previous company, you were pretty involved in the promotion process. Made your voice heard in those meetings. Do you still participate actively in personnel decisions?" She stared at me hard. "When appropriate, yes. Managers have a responsibility to speak up about who should advance, even when you don't work directly with those people, even when your information might not be accurate." The room went dead silent. Amanda stood up. "I think I'm done here." "Actually, we still have 15 minutes scheduled," Garrett said weakly. "No, we're finished." She grabbed her portfolio and looked right at me. "This was never a real interview. You dragged me in here to humiliate me." "I dragged you? You applied here. Twice. Because I didn't know you worked here. Do you think I'd waste my time if I knew? Probably not. Same way I wouldn't have wasted mine interviewing someone who tanks people's careers for politics." Her face went red. "That's not what happened." "Really?" "Because my old boss told me exactly what you said in that promotion meeting. Word for word. The lies you made up about my work." Garrett was looking between us like he was watching a car crash. "You were arrogant," Amanda said. "You acted like that promotion was yours by default. Someone needed to knock you down. So you admit it." "I admit that I gave my honest assessment of your performance and attitude." "Based on what?" "You never worked with me. Never reviewed my code. Never sat in a single meeting with me." She grabbed the door handle. "Enjoy your power trip." "I hope it was worth it." She left. The door slammed hard enough to rattle the window. Garrett sat back in his chair. "What the hell was that?" I told him the whole story. The blocked promotion, the office politics, everything. He listened without interrupting. "So you brought her in here for revenge?" he said when I finished. "No. I brought her in because her pattern speaks for itself. 6 jobs in 7 years, Garrett. Every time she gets somewhere, she burns bridges and moves on. Look at her LinkedIn recommendations. She doesn't have any from the last 3 companies. That tells you something." He rubbed his face. "You could have just told me to pass on her." "I could have. But then you might have wondered if I was being fair. Now you've seen exactly who she is." He didn't argue with that. I went back to my office and tried to focus on work, but I kept replaying the interview in my head. The look on her face when she recognized me. The way her voice shook when she tried to defend herself. Part of me felt satisfied. She'd finally faced consequences for what she did. But another part felt heavy, like I'd just done something I couldn't take back. My phone buzzed. Kevin texted, "Amanda filed a formal complaint with HR about the interview. Says it was hostile and you had a conflict of interest. They want to meet with you tomorrow at 9. Great. I showed up to HR at 8:55 the next morning. The head of HR, Patricia, was there with Kevin and someone from legal I didn't recognize. "Thanks for coming in," Patricia said, gesturing to a chair. "We wanted to get your side of what happened yesterday." I walked them through it. Kept it factual, didn't editorialize. "Amanda claims you had a personal vendetta and used the interview to harass her," the legal guy said. "Is that accurate?" I had concerns about her professional history and I asked about them. "If that's harassment, then every tough interview question is harassment." "But you had prior negative history with her," Patricia said. "You should have recused yourself." I disclosed that history to Garrett before the interview. He's the hiring manager. He chose to have me there. Kevin jumped in. Actually, the system flagged her as a legacy candidate because of the previous application. Company policy says department heads have authority to review legacy candidates, especially if there's prior knowledge of performance issues. Patricia frowned. What performance issues? She sabotaged my promotion at our previous company based on lies. That's a performance issue. It speaks to integrity and professional conduct. The legal guy wrote something down. Did you tell the previous HR department to reject her application? I gave an honest assessment based on what I observed. They made their own decision. And yesterday, I asked her about her job history. She got defensive and left. They asked more questions for another 20 minutes, then dismissed me. Patricia said they'd follow up after reviewing everything. I went back to my desk and found an email from Garrett. Amanda's lawyer sent a letter threatening legal action for discrimination and retaliation. This is getting messy. Can you come by my office? Lawyer. She'd gotten a lawyer within 24 hours. I walked to Garrett's office. He had the letter pulled up on his screen. She's claiming you blacklisted her from the industry, he said. Says you've sabotaged multiple job applications over the years and created a hostile work environment. That's insane. I blocked her from working here. That's it. Is it though? Be honest with me. How many times has she applied to companies where you had influence? I thought about it. Just the 2 times here? You're sure? Yes, I'm not out here tracking her career. I didn't even think about her until Kevin mentioned her name. Garrett leaned back. Her lawyer's asking for copies of all correspondence related to her applications. Email, messages, everything. Fine, give it to them. I've got nothing to hide. They're also demanding she be reconsidered for the position without your involvement. Not happening. Look, I get it. She screwed you over. But now this is bigger than personal history. Legal says if we don't handle this carefully, she could have a case for blacklisting or discrimination. Discrimination based on what? Based on you holding a grudge from a previous employer. There's case law about employees using their positions to punish people from their past jobs. I felt my chest tighten. So what? She gets rewarded for what she did? No, she doesn't get the job. But we need to handle the process correctly. Let HR do their thing, document everything, and make the rejection about her qualifications, not about your history. Her qualifications are bad. She can't keep a job, then that's what we put in writing. I left his office feeling like the walls were closing in. This was supposed to be simple karma. She tanked me, I returned the favor. But now there were lawyers and HR investigations and the possibility that I'd actually screwed up. Over the next week, I had to sit through 3 more meetings with Patricia and legal. They went through every email I'd ever sent about Amanda. Every conversation with Kevin, every detail of the interview. The interview itself is defensible, the legal guy finally said. You asked legitimate questions about her work history. But the problem is the previous application. You told HR not to hire her based on observations from a company you both left years ago. That's where it gets murky. I gave an honest reference. You gave a negative reference to kill her application. That's different. Patricia pulled up something on her tablet. We reached out to your old company, spoke with your former manager. He confirmed the promotion story. Said Amanda did torpedo your advancement over department politics. So I was right. Being right doesn't make it legal for you to retaliate years later at a different company. My stomach dropped. So what happens now? Amanda's lawyer wants a settlement. They're asking for $50,000 and a written agreement that you won't interfere with her career prospects. $50,000. For what? Emotional distress, damage to professional reputation, lost wages from the positions she didn't get. That's extortion. That's the opening offer, the legal guy said. These things always start high. But here's the reality. If this goes to court, it'll cost the company more than $50,000 in legal fees. And there's a chance she wins. Not a big chance, but it exists. So the company wants me to pay her off. The company is willing to cover it if you agree to the terms. I sat there processing. Amanda was about to get $50,000 because I'd blocked her from a job she didn't deserve. No, I said. I'm not signing anything. Patricia looked at legal, then back at me. If you refuse, the company might not be able to shield you. She could sue you personally, then she sues me personally. I'm not giving her a penny. The legal guy closed his folder. Think about it over the weekend. Don't make this decision angry. But I wasn't angry. I was done. I called my wife that night and told her everything. She listened without interrupting, then said, "Do you think you were wrong?" "No." "Then don't pay her. It might cost us more than $50,000 if she wins. Then it costs us more. Some things aren't about money." Saturday morning, I went for a long run to clear my head. When I got back, I had an email from an address I didn't recognize. The subject line said, "We should talk." It was from Amanda. "I know you're dealing with the lawyers right now. But before this gets uglier, I wanted to reach out directly. I'm not trying to ruin your life. I just want this situation resolved. Can we meet somewhere neutral and talk? Just us, no lawyers, no HR. I stared at the email for 10 minutes. Every instinct said it was a trap. She was probably recording everything, building her case. But another part of me was curious. 7 years of wondering why she'd done what she did, and now she wanted to talk. I wrote back. When and where? We agreed to meet Sunday afternoon at a coffee shop halfway between our places. Neutral ground, public space. I got there 15 minutes early and grabbed a corner table. She showed up exactly on time, wearing jeans and a sweater. No business armor. She looked tired. Thanks for coming, she said, sitting down. What do you want, Amanda? She ordered a coffee from the waiter, then looked at me. I want to apologize. That threw me. For what? For blocking your promotion. For lying about your work. For all of it. Why'd you do it? She wrapped her hands around her coffee mug. Honestly? Because I was angry and you were an easy target. Your boss had just killed my promotion push for Trent, and I felt humiliated in front of everyone. When your name came up, I saw a chance to make someone else feel what I felt. So, you knew the things you said were lies. Yes. And you did it anyway. Yes, we sat in silence for a minute. I've thought about it a lot over the years, she said. Wondered if you knew. If it affected you. Then when I walked into that interview and saw you sitting there, I knew you'd figured it out. My old boss told me everything, I figured. She took a sip of coffee. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm just saying I was wrong and I'm sorry. Why are you telling me this now? You've got a lawyer threatening to sue me. Because the lawyer was my husband's idea, not mine. He thinks we can get money out of this, but I don't want your money. I just wanted a fair shot at a job. You applied to my company twice. Once you might not have known I worked there. But twice? The first time I didn't know. The second time I knew, but I thought maybe enough time had passed. Maybe it wouldn't matter. It matters. I get that now. She set down her coffee. Look, I'm not in a good place. I've been job hunting for 8 months. My marriage is falling apart. My savings are gone. That director position would have changed everything for me. You should have thought about that before you made burning bridges your career strategy. You're right. You're absolutely right. I made my choices and now I'm living with them. She looked down at her hands. I'll drop the lawsuit. Call off the lawyer. Whatever you need. Just please don't stand in my way anymore. You realize I can't help you get a job somewhere else. I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to stop actively blocking me. I've only blocked you from working at my company. That's it. Kevin told someone who told someone who told me that you've put me on some kind of industry blacklist. That's not true. Then why can't I get hired anywhere? I've applied to 43 companies in the last 8 months. Not one callback that went anywhere. Maybe because you can't keep a job longer than 18 months. Or because your references are weak. Or because the market's competitive. But it's not because of me. She looked like she might cry. I don't know what else to do. I'm drowning here. Part of me felt bad for her. Part of me thought she deserved exactly what she was getting. I can't fix your career, I said. That's on you, but I'll make you a deal. Drop the lawsuit, sign something saying you won't come after me or the company, and I'll write you an honest reference letter for your next application. Not a recommendation, but an honest account of your skills and experience from what I observed at our old company. That's it? That's it. She thought about it. And you won't sabotage me anymore? I never sabotaged you beyond my own company. And I won't reach out to interfere anywhere else unless someone specifically asks me about you. So if they ask, you'll tell them what you think. Yes. She nodded slowly. Okay, deal. We shook hands across the table. It felt weird, like making peace with someone you'd been at war with for years. She left first. I sat there finishing my coffee, wondering if I'd just made a mistake. Monday morning, I got to the office and went straight to Patricia's office. Amanda's dropping the lawsuit, I told her. Patricia looked up surprised. How do you know? We talked. Worked it out. You met with the opposing party without legal present? It was coffee, not a negotiation. That was incredibly stupid. Maybe, but it's done. She's going to send something in writing dropping all claims. Patricia leaned back in her chair. And what did you agree to? To write her an honest reference letter and to not interfere with her job search. That's it? That's it. What's an honest reference letter? The facts. What I observed of her work at our previous company. No lies, no exaggerations either direction. Patricia thought about it. Let me see the letter before you send it anywhere. 2 days later, Amanda's lawyer sent formal notice they were withdrawing all claims. Patricia said we were clear. The legal guy seemed almost disappointed he didn't get to fight it out. I wrote the reference letter that night. It was 2 pages. I outlined Amanda's role at our previous company, noted that she was competent in her technical skills and managed her team adequately. I also mentioned that she had difficulty with cross-departmental collaboration and had been involved in political conflicts that affected team morale. I ended it by saying she would likely succeed in environments with clear boundaries and limited inter-office dynamics. It was honest. Not glowing, but not a hit piece either. I sent it to Patricia. She made me cut the part about political conflicts and change difficulty with collaboration to preferred clearly defined working relationships. Fine. I emailed the letter to Amanda. She wrote back 2 hours later. Thank you. That was the last direct contact we had. About 3 months later, Kevin mentioned that he'd gotten a reference call about Amanda from a company in another state. He'd given them basic employment verification and said nothing else. Did you tank her? I asked. No. I told them she worked here, applied for a position, interviewed, and wasn't selected. That's all I'm allowed to say anyway per company policy. Did they ask about me? They asked if anyone else had insight into her work. I said she never worked here, so there was no performance history to share. She didn't get that job either. I know because 2 months after that, I got a LinkedIn message from a recruiter asking if I knew Amanda Jennings and could speak to her work quality, sent back the reference letter I'd written and said, that was the extent of my knowledge. The recruiter never replied. I realized something then. It didn't matter what I said or didn't say. Amanda's pattern spoke for itself. 6 jobs in 7 years, thin references, gaps in her story. Any competent recruiter or hiring manager would see those red flags without me saying a word. I wasn't blocking her. She'd blocked herself years ago when she decided burning bridges was easier than building them. 6 months after the lawsuit got dropped, I was at an industry conference in Seattle. I was between sessions grabbing lunch in the convention center food court when I saw her. She was at a booth in the job fair section talking to a recruiter. She looked thinner, older, wore the same forced smile she'd had in that interview. I watched her hand over her resume, watched the recruiter skim it and give her a card with that polite but disinterested nod that means, we'll call you but we won't. She turned from the booth and saw me standing there. For a second, we just looked at each other across the crowded food court. Then she gave me a small nod and walked away in the other direction. I didn't follow her, didn't say anything. Just went back to my conference. That night I told my wife about seeing Amanda. Do you feel bad? She asked. I don't know. I feel something. Not bad exactly. Just aware that consequences are real and they last longer than we think they will. She made her choices. Yeah, and I made mine. Do you regret it? I thought about that for a long time. No, but I understand it differently now. I thought blocking her was about justice, getting back what she took from me, but it wasn't about that. It was about power. Proving I had it and she didn't. And did that make you feel better? For a minute. Then it just made me feel empty. My wife squeezed my hand. You're overthinking it. She tried to ruin you. You stopped her from doing it to someone else. That's not wrong. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was overthinking it. But I kept thinking about Amanda's face at that job fair. The tired desperation in her eyes. The stack of resumes in her bag that nobody would call back about. There's a thing that happens when you watch someone lose over and over. At first it feels like justice. Then it starts to feel like watching someone drown. I didn't throw her in the water. She jumped. But I also didn't throw her a rope. 2 years went by. I stopped thinking about Amanda, except when something randomly reminded me. A news story about workplace politics. A job application from someone with a sketchy work history. Small things I'd moved up again at work. VP of engineering now. The acquisition had gone well and the company was growing fast. We'd doubled in size, opened 3 new offices, hired 200 people in 18 months. One day I was in a meeting with our CEO, Lyndon, talking about expansion plans. He wanted to open an office in Denver and needed someone to run it. I'm thinking we promote from within, he said. Someone who knows our culture, has been here since before the acquisition. Makes sense. Who are you considering? Actually, I wanted your input. You've been here longest besides me and Kevin. Who do you trust to build something from scratch? We went through names for an hour. Good people. All of them. But nobody felt quite right. Either they were too green or too embedded in their current roles to move. What about external? I asked. I'd rather not. Too much risk bringing someone new into a leadership role at a remote office. The meeting ended without a decision. I went back to my office and pulled up our org chart looking for anyone we'd missed. That's when my phone rang. Kevin, you busy? He asked. Just finished with Lyndon. What's up? Remember Amanda Jennings? My stomach tightened. Yeah, why? She just applied for a senior program manager role. Denver office. I pulled up my email. Sure enough, there was a new applicant notification with her name. You've got to be kidding me. I flagged it immediately. Wanted to give you a heads up before anyone else saw it. I opened her application. The resume was different now. She'd added 2 more positions since the last time I'd seen it. One lasted 11 months. The other was listed as current at a consulting firm I'd never heard of. "What do you want me to do?" Kevin asked. "Give me a minute. I'll call you back." I sat there staring at her resume. 8 jobs in 9 years now. The pattern was even worse, but something else caught my eye. Under skills, she'd listed program management, vendor relations, and remote team building. That was exactly what we needed for Denver. I pulled up LinkedIn and looked at her profile. The consulting firm was real. Small operation, maybe 10 employees. Her title was senior consultant. Her recommendations were generic but positive. I clicked through to the company's website. They specialized in helping startups establish remote offices and distributed teams. That was Amanda's work now. Helping companies do the exact thing we were trying to do. I called Lyndon. "That candidate you asked about for Denver," I said. "I might have someone external worth looking at." "I thought you agreed internal was better." "I did. But this person has specific experience with remote office build-outs. Might be worth a conversation. Send me the resume." I forwarded Amanda's application before I could change my mind. Lyndon called me back 30 minutes later. "This woman worked with you before?" "At my old company, yeah. And at the startup. Kevin flagged that she applied here twice before." "That's right. So why didn't we hire her then? Concerns about job stability?" "Her work history was choppy. Still is. But this consulting firm is interesting." I looked them up. "They've got good clients. If she's been there 2 years like she says, that's the longest she's stayed anywhere." "Yeah, I noticed that too." "You want to interview her?" My chest felt tight. "I don't think I should be involved." "Why not? You worked with her. You know her capabilities." "It's complicated." Lyndon was quiet for a second. "Is this going to be another HR situation?" "No, nothing like that. I just think it's better if other people evaluate her." "All right, I'll have Garrett handle it." He hung up. I sat there wondering what I'd just done. Kevin called me an hour later. "Lyndon wants to interview Amanda," he said. "Did you recommend her?" I sent him her resume. "Why?" "Because she might actually be qualified for what we need." After everything that happened? The lawsuit, the whole mess? That was 3 years ago, Kevin. People change. Situations change. Do you actually believe that, or are you trying to prove something? I don't know. Maybe both. The interview got scheduled for the following week. Video call since Amanda was in Phoenix now. I didn't sit in on it. Didn't ask for updates. Just waited to hear what happened. 3 days later, Garrett stopped by my office. "We made an offer to Amanda Jennings," he said. My heart started racing. "Already?" Lyndon loved her. Said she had exactly the experience we needed and came with ideas we hadn't thought of. He wants her to start in 6 weeks. Did she accept? Not yet. She asked for 24 hours to think about it. "What are you offering?" 140 base, equity package, and relocation assistance. "It's competitive for the role." I nodded slowly. "Okay. You all right with this?" "Doesn't matter if I am or not. If Lyndon thinks she's the right person, then she's the right person." Garrett studied my face. "He doesn't know about the history, does he? He knows we worked together. He knows she applied here before. That's it. Maybe you should tell him the rest." "It was 9 years ago, Garrett. What's it going to change?" He shrugged and left. I went home that night and told my wife the company was about to hire Amanda. "The same Amanda who sued you?" "She didn't technically sue me. Her lawyer threatened to. You know what I mean. How do you feel about this?" "Honestly, I don't know. Part of me thinks it's a terrible idea. Part of me thinks maybe she's earned a shot." "What changed?" "She's been at that consulting firm for 2 years. That's growth. That's stability. Maybe she figured herself out. Or maybe she'll pull the same stuff she did before. Maybe. But that's not my call to make." My wife looked at me like she was trying to read my mind. "You recommended her, didn't you?" "I forwarded her resume." "Why would you do that?" "Because the job description matched her experience. Because we needed someone. Because holding on to the past forever is exhausting. That's very mature of you." "Don't sound so surprised." She smiled. "I'm not. I'm proud of you." Amanda accepted the offer 2 days later. Kevin sent out the announcement email. "New senior program manager starting in 6 weeks. Will be leading the Denver office launch. Background in remote team building and startup operations." My inbox filled up with replies. People welcoming her, asking questions about the Denver office, making introductions. Nobody knew the history. Nobody except me, Kevin, Garrett, and Patricia. I wrote a reply all, "Welcome to the team, Amanda. Looking forward to working with you." It felt strange hitting send on that email. She wrote back an hour later just to me, "Thank you. I know this is probably weird for you. I promise I'll do good work." I didn't reply. 6 weeks went by fast. Amanda's start date came. She spent the first week at headquarters doing onboarding and meeting people. I avoided her. Not obviously, but I made sure I was in meetings or out of the office whenever she was around. On her 4th day, Patricia asked me to stop by her office. "Amanda wants to meet with you," she said. "About what?" She didn't say. Just asked if you had time. I think she wants to clear the air before she heads to Denver. We already cleared the air years ago. Apparently she wants to do it again, in an official capacity. I agreed to meet her the next morning in Conference Room C. She was already there when I arrived, wearing professional clothes but looking nervous. "Thanks for meeting with me," she said. "What do you need, Amanda?" "I wanted you to hear this directly. I'm not here to cause problems. I know the history between us makes this complicated, but I took this job because it's a good opportunity and I'm qualified. Not because of you or in spite of you, just because it's the right fit professionally. Okay, and I want you to know that if my being here creates any issues for you or the company, I'll leave. I'm not going to sue anyone or make accusations or any of that. I learned my lesson. I just want to do my job. Amanda, I'm not worried about you causing problems. You should be. I've caused you problems before. That was a long time ago. I know, but it happened, and I'm asking you to give me a chance to show you I'm different now." I looked at her. She seemed sincere. Tired, but sincere. "You don't need my permission to do your job," I said. "You got hired because you're qualified. So just focus on that. That's it?" "That's it," she nodded, looking relieved. "Thank you." She left for Denver the following week. For the first 2 months, I barely heard anything about her. She was doing her thing, building the office, hiring people. Garrett said she was ahead of schedule and the Denver team liked her. Then month 3 hit and problems started. The first issue was budget. Amanda had approved expenses that weren't in the original plan. Office furniture that cost twice what we'd allocated. A contractor for marketing that hadn't been discussed. Equipment purchases that seemed excessive. Garrett called me in to look at the numbers. "This is way over budget," he said. "Did you approve any of this?" "No. First I'm hearing about it." She's reporting to Lyndon, but he says he didn't approve it either. Says Amanda told him these were necessary expenses for the office launch. "How much over are we?" $60,000 so far. "And we're only 3 months in. Does Lyndon know?" "I just told him." He's pissed. That afternoon, Lyndon called an emergency video meeting with Amanda, Garrett, me, and finance. Amanda looked calm when her video clicked on. "Too calm? Can you explain the budget overruns?" Lyndon asked. "Those aren't overruns," Amanda said. "Those are investments in getting the office operational at the level we need to be competitive. They weren't in the approved budget. The approved budget was based on assumptions that turned out to be incorrect. Denver's market is more expensive than we thought. Good people cost more. Equipment costs more. If we want to compete here, we need to spend appropriately." "You should have communicated that before spending," Garrett said. "I did communicate it. I sent 3 emails outlining the discrepancies and what needed to change." "We never got those emails," Lyndon said. Amanda's face shifted slightly. "I sent them to the leadership distribution list." "What leadership list?" "The one Kevin gave me during onboarding." Kevin, who was also on the call, unmuted himself. "The distribution list is for internal updates, not budget approvals. Budget approvals go through the finance system." "Nobody told me that. It's in the onboarding documentation." Amanda's jaw tightened. "I must have missed it." The meeting went on for another 30 minutes. By the end, Lyndon said all future expenses needed explicit pre-approval through the system, and Amanda needed to submit revised projections by end of week. After the meeting ended, Garrett called me. "That felt familiar," he said. "What do you mean?" "The way she handled that. Deflecting blame, acting like she communicated things she didn't, claiming everyone else dropped the ball. She made a mistake. We all make mistakes. Maybe. Or maybe this is who she is. Let's not jump to conclusions." But 2 weeks later, another issue came up. One of the Denver hires quit. Just walked out during his 2nd week. HR called me because the exit interview raised red flags. "The guy says Amanda created a hostile work environment," Patricia said. "Claims she micromanaged everything, criticized him constantly, and blamed him for problems that weren't his fault." "Did he have specific examples?" "Several." "Says she changed project requirements without documentation, then got angry when he didn't meet the new requirements. Says she told him he wasn't cut out for startup culture and should probably look for work elsewhere." One person's complaint doesn't mean much. Normally, I'd agree. But we're getting signals from other Denver people too. Not formal complaints, but comments. Questions about whether this is normal. Concerns about Amanda's management style. Like what? Like she takes credit for other people's work. Like she makes decisions and then changes her mind and acts like everyone else misunderstood. Like she's building an environment where people are afraid to push back. My stomach sank. "I need you to go to Denver," Patricia said. "Observe what's happening. Talk to people. Get a sense of whether this is a real pattern or just adjustment issues." "Why me? I'm the worst person to evaluate Amanda objectively. Actually, you're the best person. You know her history. You know what to look for. And you're senior enough that people will talk to you honestly." I flew to Denver the following week. The office was nice. Modern space in a good neighborhood. Amanda had done well with the physical setup. I spent 3 days there, sitting in on meetings, having lunch with team members, watching how things operated. What I saw wasn't good. Amanda ran every meeting like she was the only person in the room who understood anything. She cut people off, dismissed ideas without consideration, and made decisions without discussion. When someone questioned her, she'd get defensive and imply they weren't experienced enough to understand the bigger picture. One guy told me privately that he'd been job hunting since week 1. Another said she loved the company but couldn't work for Amanda long term. The third day, I asked Amanda if we could talk. We grabbed coffee at a place near the office. "How do you think it's going?" I asked. "Good, we're making progress. There are some bumps, but that's normal for a startup office." "What kind of bumps?" "Just people adjusting to the pace. Some folks expect a slower, more corporate environment. That's not what we're building here." "I've heard some concerns about management style." Her expression hardened. "From who?" "Multiple people. They feel like there's not enough collaboration. Like decisions get made without input. Decisions get made by the person responsible for the outcome. That's me. If people want input-based decisions, they should apply to be program managers." "Amanda, that's not how good teams work. It's how fast teams work. We don't have time to debate every choice. We need to execute. You're losing people. One person quit. That happens. 2 more are actively looking." She set down her coffee. "Who told you that?" "It doesn't matter who. What matters is the pattern. There's no pattern. There's me trying to do my job and some people not being able to keep up." I looked at her across the table. Same defensive posture she'd had in every tough conversation. Same refusal to consider that maybe she was the problem. "You need to change how you're operating," I said, "or this isn't going to work. I'm doing exactly what I was hired to do. Build an office. Launch a team. Deliver results. If you have a problem with my results, show me where I'm failing. You're delivering results but destroying culture. That's not sustainable." She stood up. "I think we're done here." She walked out of the coffee shop. I flew back to headquarters and gave Lyndon my report. He listened without interrupting, then leaned back in his chair. "So what are you saying?" "We need to fire her." "I'm saying we need to address it before it gets worse. She's only been there 4 months, and she's already burned through 1 employee and is about to lose 2 more. Lyndon rubbed his face. "This is my fault. I should have done more reference checks. I got excited about her experience and didn't dig deep enough. We all made that call." "Yeah, but I made the final call. And now I have to fix it." He called Amanda later that day. Told her we needed to bring in an executive coach to help with the transition. Told her the feedback from her team required addressing. Amanda pushed back hard. Said the feedback was from people who couldn't handle accountability. Said she'd been hired to lead and that's what she was doing. Lyndon held firm. Said the coaching wasn't optional. 2 days later, Amanda sent an email to Lyndon, HR, and me. "I'm resigning effective immediately. It's clear that this company isn't ready for the kind of leadership needed to scale quickly. I wish you all the best. But I can't continue in an environment where doing my job effectively is treated as a problem." Lyndon called me right after he got the email. "She quit," he said. "I saw. Part of me is relieved. Part of me feels like we failed." We didn't fail. We tried to help someone who didn't want help. You knew this would happen, didn't you? "I suspected it might." "Why didn't you say something before we hired her?" "Because I wanted to believe people could change. Because I didn't want my past experience to sabotage someone's future. Because I thought maybe I was wrong about her." "But you weren't wrong." "No, I wasn't." Amanda's resignation created chaos. The Denver office was only 4 months old and suddenly had no leader. 2 more people quit within a week, saying they'd only stayed because they thought Amanda was leaving anyway. We ended up bringing in someone from the Chicago office to stabilize Denver. It took another 6 months to get the team rebuilt and functional. The whole thing cost us about 8 months of progress and probably $200,000 in lost productivity and rehiring costs. I never heard from Amanda again after her resignation email, but about a year later, I was scrolling LinkedIn and saw her profile pop up as a suggested connection. She was working at another consulting firm. Different company, same role. Her headline said Program Management Expert, Remote Team Specialist, Startup Advisor. Her profile had recommendations from people at her new company. Glowing reviews about her leadership and vision. I wondered how long it would last. 6 months later, I saw her profile again. The company name had changed. She was somewhere new. Then 6 months after that, it changed again. The pattern continued. I stopped checking after a while. Stopped caring about where Amanda ended up or what she was doing. She was living her life and I was living mine, and the two didn't need to intersect. But sometimes late at night when I couldn't sleep, I'd think about the whole thing. The promotion she'd blocked. The applications I'd rejected. The job I'd helped her get that fell apart. I'd wonder if any of it mattered. If the revenge had been worth it. If trying to help her had been naive, and I realized the answer was complicated. She'd hurt me. That was real. And blocking her from those jobs had felt justified at the time. But watching her fail at our company, watching her unable to see her own role in that failure, I understood something I hadn't before. Amanda wasn't my enemy. She was just someone who'd never learned that other people's success didn't diminish her own. That building bridges was always better than burning them. That sometimes the person standing in your way is you. I'd spent years thinking she'd cost me something, and she had. $30,000 and a promotion I'd earned, but she'd cost herself more. Every job she'd lost, every bridge she'd burned, every opportunity she'd sabotaged with her own behavior. The promotion I'd missed 9 years ago didn't matter anymore. I'd moved past it, built a career, succeeded in ways I couldn't have predicted, but Amanda was still fighting the same battles, making the same mistakes, unable to see that the pattern wasn't everyone else. It was her, and that seemed like a worse punishment than anything I could have done. My wife asked me once if I regretted any of it. Blocking her applications, recommending her, watching it fall apart. I regret that it happened the way it did, I said, but I don't regret the choices. I made the best calls I could with the information I had. Do you think she'll ever figure it out? I don't know. Some people do, some people don't. What would you say to her if you saw her again? I thought about that. I'd probably say nothing. There's nothing left to say. 3 years have passed since Amanda resigned from our company. I'm a C-level executive now. The company went public last year. The stock options I'd accumulated over the years became life-changing money. I don't think about Amanda much anymore. She's a footnote in a career that moved on without her. But sometimes I'll be in a hiring meeting and someone will mention a candidate who's had 6 jobs in 5 years, and I'll think about patterns, about how the things we do early in our careers follow us forever, about how burning one bridge can lead to burning them all, and I'll vote no on that candidate, not out of spite, not out of revenge, but because patterns matter. Because past behavior predicts future behavior. Because some lessons people need to learn on their own. The other day, our CHRO asked me about hiring philosophy. What I looked for in candidates. What red flags mattered most. Stability, I said. Not just staying at jobs, but building relationships. Having strong references from people who'll vouch for them. Showing they can work through conflict instead of running from it. What about raw talent? Talent matters, but character matters more. You can teach someone to code. You can't teach them not to sabotage their coworkers. She nodded. Speaking from experience? Always. I've learned a lot in the 16 years since that promotion meeting. About work, about people, about myself. I learned that revenge feels good in the moment but leaves you empty. I learned that giving people second chances is noble, but not always smart. I learned that some people will never see their own role in their failures, and there's nothing you can do to change that. And I learned that the best revenge isn't blocking someone's career or watching them fail. It's building something so successful that they become irrelevant. Amanda's out there somewhere, probably moving to her next job, burning her next bridge, blaming everyone except herself. And I'm here, still standing, still building, still moving forward. That's the real ending to this story. Not that I won and she lost, but that I stopped keeping score, because in the end, the only competition that matters is the one with yourself. The only question that counts is whether you're better today than you were yesterday. And every day I can answer yes to that question is a day Amanda becomes less important. Until finally, she's just a story I tell sometimes, a lesson I learned, a chapter that's closed, nothing more, nothing less. Just part of the past that made me who I am now, and who I am now is someone who doesn't need revenge anymore. I've got something better. I've got peace.